On this episode of the Turnbuckle, Reels announces a deal with Peacock, but MLW is not included due to the WWE exclusivity. Eddie Kingston says he and the AEW office have to have a talk. There we go. And Endeavor CEO comments on WWE's purchase interest. Folks, we're in your favorite wrestling movie, some wrestling news, because it's time for the Turnbuckle. Reels has reached a deal with Peacock, but MLW content won't be included. It was announced on Tuesday that Reels and Peacock have agreed to a deal to bring Reels' linear channel and on-demand programming to Peacock starting this Wednesday. But because of Peacock's exclusivity with WWE, the linear channel won't be available when MLW Underground is airing. There is one quirk under the Reels deal. While it will include the channel's live linear feed, it will not stream Tuesdays in the 10 p.m. hour, as Reels airs Major League Wrestling in that hour, The Hollywood Reporter wrote. Peacock has a streaming deal with the WWE, which has exclusivity in the category on Peacock. MLW Underground made its debut on Peacock on February 7th. Last week's East Coast airing of the show averaged 97,000 viewers and a draw of .3 rating in the 1849 demo. It was MLW's best viewership on Reels to date. I don't necessarily know if this seems like a great idea for MLW right now, especially since they just got this deal with Reels. I don't really think that this is the best starting point. I think if you're going to be a part of a company and the whole idea is to get as many eyes on the product as possible, maybe don't go with a company that literally turns you off as soon as your wrestling show turns on. That's not the best. That's not good. I don't think that that's a good idea, and there's not really much you can do about that because this WWE Peacock deal has been going on for quite some time now. So you can't just Court Bauer can't just kick the door in and be like, oh, by the way, this is what's happening. So I think at the end of the day, Reels or MLW or whoever is in charge of that should really step back and be like, you know what, I don't think that we should be moving forward with this deal. I think if we're going to stay with Peacock, we need to negotiate something else, or maybe we need to just, cut our losses with these guys and then find somebody else at the moment, because right now, I don't think this is the best idea, but I'm not a businessman. Maybe there's something to this that I don't necessarily see. So if that's the case, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Next, we're going to talk about Eddie Kingston and how he says he and the AEW office have to have a talk. With AEW Revolution set for this weekend in San Francisco, California, AEW is scheduled for a busy March, making its debut in several cities. Among those is Sacramento, California, the Wednesday after, with one of the key stars in the company speculating he may not be at the show. Eddie Kingston, who was scheduled to wrestle on Dynamite in the face of the Revolution ladder match, detailed why in an interview with Sacktown Sports 1140. I may not be at Sacramento, though. It all depends on how certain things go in the locker room with the office, Kingston said, especially with my match that's coming up on Wednesday. Not really happy about it. Yeah, so we have to have a talk. And I'm not going to say who's the office. Everybody knows about Tony Khan, but there are others. We all got to get together and talk. I want to go everywhere, but I also, I got to be a businessman and put my foot down at some point. In a calm manner. That's what I'm still trying to learn. A professional manner. What issues Kingston is referring to seem to be unclear at this time, though he has had problems with the locker room in the past. The AEW star previously revealed he found out about his inclusion in the match via social media. Kingston joined Sammy Guevara, Konosuke Takeshita, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ortiz, the debut Commander, Action Andretti, and AR Fox in the match, with the winner getting a future shot at TNT champion Samoa Joe. Now, I don't necessarily know what's got him so upset. I feel like it's a lot of different things. From the way that it's sounding, it sounds like it's a myriad of different things. It doesn't, and sorry, it doesn't necessarily sound like it's specifically at all. It doesn't necessarily sound like, I don't know, because I don't know what it is, but I doubt Eddie Kingston's the type of person to go around and start stirring up a bunch of trouble just for the sake of it. You know what I mean? I feel like Eddie Kingston is just one of those people that's just hey man, don't mess with me. Just don't mess with me, and everything will be fine. And I listen, I don't really know enough about him, right? So I can't really sit here and be like, oh, maybe it's this or maybe it's that or something like that. I genuinely don't know. But whatever it is, I doubt it's anything off the rails or anything like that. I doubt it's anything super duper pedantic. I'm sure whatever he's upset about, he has reason to be upset about, and it makes sense, that he would be upset. I feel like it's one of those things where it doesn't necessarily matter who it is. I don't think anybody is going to be happy with it. So I feel like he's I don't know, he's just subconsciously been look, if that's how it is, that's how it is, you know what I mean? So I don't know what it is, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what exactly happens. So what's the Wednesday's tonight, so I guess if we don't see him, that tells you something. I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. Finally, Endeavor CEO comments on WWE purchase interest. The CEO of Endeavor has commented on the possibility of the company purchasing WWE. When asked about purchasing WWE during Endeavor's fourth quarter earnings call Tuesday afternoon, CEO Ari Emanuel said they were not going to do anything that would change their leverage position. As it relates to WWE, it's an unbelievable product, Emanuel said. Vince, created a great business. We've had a long-standing relationship with them over 2 decades. We're doing on-location business with them, streaming business with them. His business is really valuable, but we're not doing anything as it relates to changing our leverage position right now. The parent company of the UFC has been reported as a potential buyer of the promotion. Vince McMahon forced himself back as the chairman of the company in January, saying that he was back in order to facilitate a sale of the company. Bloomberg reported earlier this month that McMahon was looking for $9 billion for the company. It sounds like Endeavor actually does want to sounds like Endeavor actually does want to buy WWE. They said it would change their leverage position. So whatever that means, it sounds like they are at a certain point in the negotiation or something, and they're at a decent position. And I guess unless somebody comes to them and says, hey, we will give you all the $9 billion. Because I doubt Endeavor, unless that is what Endeavor is doing, unless Endeavor is like, hey, we're going to give you the $9 billion, but you just have to give us a second first, because they're like leverage position. So whatever that, I'm assuming that means like, hey, we are in the, the realm of possibility to buy the company. And the reason why they don't want to change their position is because they're worried that someone will move up the rankings below them, and they will move down the rankings. And they will be less likely to buy the company, I guess. So far, it seems like Endeavor and Saudi Arabia are the two juggernauts who are financially capable enough to even afford to make a purchase like this. At least that's what it sounds like. I mean, Vince is asking for $9 billion, but if I remember from the article, it was the actual company was worth $6.5, if I remember correctly. So that's why I was like, so is Endeavor going to pay them the $9 billion, or is Endeavor just like, hey, we've got a really good negotiation right now. We're not going to pay you the $9 billion, but we've got a really good negotiation. So everybody just get out of here while we work this out, and then we'll take the company, and then you guys can just skedaddle. We're just going to have to wait and see if Endeavor is able to maintain their position, or if someone else is going to come up and just knock it out of the water with hey, we're going to give you $10 billion. I don't know. So we're just going to have to wait and see. What do we talk about? Reels announces a deal with Peacock. This doesn't really seem like the most lucrative deal for this company, especially since they just got together with Reels. So I think if you're MLW, you've quickly got to get yourself out of this bear trap that you've accidentally caught yourself in, and work on a better deal to get yourself out of it, because right now this is not looking the greatest for you, mainly because I feel like this is only hindering you rather than helping you. Kingston says he and the office have to have a talk. I have no idea what the talk could potentially be about. It sounds like the talk could potentially be a myriad of different things. Like I said before, it doesn't sound like it's one specific thing. It sounds like it is multiple different things that have been nagging Eddie for a very long time. And Eddie's like, you know what? I'm gonna need to speak to somebody about this. And he was like, that's what I'm still trying to learn, a professional manner. So it sounds like he wants to go in there and just start just flinging stuff. I don't think that's what he wants to do. But he's like, the way that he's talking, he's like, look, I'm going to go in there and I'm probably going to get upset, or I'm probably going to get a little bit emotional, you know what I'm saying? And I need to work on not doing that, you know what I mean? And I respect that. So I don't know what it is. Hopefully it gets resolved, and hopefully we see Eddie Kingston tonight. Endeavor wants to keep their leverage over WWE, which I completely understand. I don't know any other companies that could potentially, I know the other companies, but right now, it sounds like Endeavor and Saudi Arabia. Oh God, it wasn't UFC. It was some guy who owns the UFC or something like that. It wasn't Dana. It was somebody else. I can't remember. But the point is, I like these specific type of articles of have you heard anything yet? Actually, I have. Endeavor says they want it. You know what I mean? It's a lot of different avenues cropping up here and there, talking about we want WWE. Yeah, well, we're willing to pay this much. So I'm sure Vince has got to be dancing a jig right now. But it really depends on if anybody actually does want to pay the whole $9 billion, which I really don't think is actually going to happen. I think somebody's going to beat Vince over the head for $6.5, and he's not really going to say anything. So only time will tell, and we're just going to have to wait and see if that actually does end up happening. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. As always, big hugs all around.